This is the grill that made my winter cooks boring in the best way. I set it, it held temp, the smoke stayed clean, and I actually slept through an overnight brisket without pacing around the backyard. The Woodridge Elite is a pellet grill and smoker with an electric side sear station, built for people who want wood-fired flavor with real consistency and as little babysitting as possible. If you cook year-round, especially where temperatures swing, or you host more than a couple people at a time, this fits that rhythm. It's not trying to be a raging charcoal pit or a pizza oven that hits extreme heat. It's a controlled, insulated wood-fired convection box with a clever cleanup system and just enough extra heat on the side to finish a steak properly. What matters day to day is the insulated body and the enclosed cabinet. The barrel doesn't bleed heat the way single-wall units do, so wind and cold become background noise instead of the main event. The cabinet below keeps pellets dry and tools tidy, which sounds small until you stop tripping over bags and random tongs. The cooking area is genuinely spacious. I can load the main grate with 2 big briskets or a full sheet of wings and still use the upper rack for veggies or holding. Vertical clearance on the top rack is fine for ribs and chicken, but if I'm doing a turkey or a big packer, I pull the upper rack out. The side shelf is solid with a PAL rail. I used hooks and a little bin for gloves and spritz bottles, and nothing rattled, even when I rolled it across pavers. The hopper capacity goes beyond a standard bag, which sounds like a spec until you run a 14-hour cook and want to dump a fresh bag without juggling leftovers. There's a pellet cleanout trapdoor too, useful when I swap from mesquite to cherry for poultry. The EZ Clean Grease and Ash Keg is one of those features that changes how often I want to cook. Grease and most of the ash end up in a single-lined container. I still run a quick vacuum in the barrel every 5 or 6 cooks because a little ash bypasses the chute, but I don't tear it down every weekend anymore. The lid has a reassuring heft, the gaskets seal well, and the wheels handle bumps better than most full-size grills. It's heavy, so plan your spot before you build it. Setup was straightforward. I followed the 3D instructions in the app and didn't hit any oddball snags. The initial burn-in was a full hour at high heat. After that, no chemical smell on food. WiFIRE took a minute because it prefers 2.4 GHz. On my mesh network, I had to separate the bands to finish pairing. Once connected, the app has been reliable. It reflects temperature changes quickly, and I can bump the set point from my kitchen or the grocery store without delay. The pellet sensor warning came through when the hopper was getting low during a pork butt. Saved me from a flameout. The Bluetooth probe pairing worked, and the keep warm mode is actually useful for those guests are running late moments. From cold, it gets to 225 degrees Fahrenheit quickly and to max temp without drama. I measured 500 degrees Fahrenheit at the grate after a proper preheat, which matters for crisping chicken and pizza experiments. The controller does overshoot a little during the first stabilization, especially when I change pellets with different density, but it settles. Fan noise is present, but not loud. You hear air moving, not a jet engine. The smoke profile is cleaner than stick burners. Lighter, less soot, more wood oven than campfire. On performance, this is about steady heat and predictable smoke, not chasing the hottest possible numbers. Super smoke at low temps makes a difference. At 180 to 225 F, the smoke flavor deepens without turning acrid. Brisket developed a convincing smoke ring and a gentle, clean finish. Pork shoulder took on color evenly, and the bark wasn't mushy. The insulated body prevents those wild temp swings you get when a gust hits a single-wall barrel, so the top rack isn't a cold corner, it's usable space. In the 325 to 400 degree Fahrenheit range, it behaves like a wood-fired convection oven. Veggies roast evenly, biscuits browned edge to edge. Whole chickens at around 375 F gave me rendered skin without resorting to a post-sear on the side station. The Side Sear Station is electric with an infrared-style element. It gets hot enough to put a crust on steak in a cast-iron pan and to keep sauces simmering without needing a second appliance. It's slower to heat than gas or induction and slower to cool down, so timing matters. I preheat the pan for several minutes to get a consistent surface temp, then do a quick reverse sear after smoking the steaks at low temp. Searing directly on the main grate at 500 degree Fahrenheit will mark the meat, but that intense crust people chase happens on the side station with a heavy pan. In testing, an overnight brisket at 225 Fahrenheit with oak pellets was uneventful in the best way. I wrapped it color, bumped to 250, and the graph looked like a straight line. Pellet consumption stayed close to a pound an hour in mild weather. In the cold, the insulation kept it reasonable, and the 24-pound hopper went the distance without a midnight refill. Ribs on Super Smoke took on that mahogany sheen and pulled cleanly without falling apart. Salmon at low temp stayed moist and didn't pick up bitter notes. A pizza on a stone at the grill's max is fine for a thicker crust, but it won't give that leopard-spotted cornicione. This just isn't a 700-degree pizza tool. The more interesting use was weeknight dinners, where I smoked chicken thighs at 225 for an hour, then cranked to 400 for crisp skin, and did asparagus on the side station in a skillet with butter and garlic. Cleanup took a few minutes. Scrape the grates, dump the keg liner when it's full, quick vacuum every few cooks, and that's it. One detail that deserves attention is the shutdown cycle. Let it run. The controller keeps the fan going to burn off pellets in the fire pot and prevent heat from creeping up the auger. Pulling the plug early is how you get smoke in the hopper or a messy restart. With the proper shutdown, I haven't had a hopper scare or a clogged fire pot. I like how the WiFIRE features are implemented. I've used the app to set staging steps, smoke for a few hours, then climb to a roast temp, then drop to hold. It's not overcomplicated, and the on-grill interface is responsive with clear feedback. The pellet sensor warning is practical peace of mind. Keeping the digital guts stable did mean I stuck to 2.4 GHz, but once set up, I didn't need to babysit the connection. It's not flawless. The Side Sear Station, being electric, takes patience. I adapted my timing rather than expecting gas-like instant control. The max temperature ceiling limits direct grate steakhouse char and flash-baked pizza ambitions. The controller occasionally overshoots during the first 15 minutes, especially with new pellets, before settling into a tight band. The cleanup system is great, but I still break out the shop vac occasionally because a little ash collects in corners. The whole unit is heavy, so pick a good home for it and avoid lugging it around the yard. And if your Wi-Fi setup is modern and fused into a single SSID, plan a minute to make sure 2.4 GHz is available for pairing. A specific use case that sold me was hosting a winter holiday meal. I ran 2 chickens on the main grate at 375 degrees Fahrenheit, with a pan of root vegetables underneath catching drippings, and on the upper rack I kept a tray of dinner rolls warm. The side station kept gravy at a soft simmer while I finished the veggies in a cast iron with butter and herbs. I didn't shuffle between appliances, and I didn't fight temperature swings when the evening cooled down. Food came off steadily and the kitchen stayed clean. Smart touches make a real difference here. The PAL rail keeps my tools and bins exactly where I want them. The enclosed cabinet solves the pellet storage mess. The pellet cleanout lets me experiment with flavors without committing to an entire hopper. Keep warm saves me when timing shifts. Super Smoke isn't a gimmick. It's a subtle nudge toward deeper flavor at low temp, and it's easy to toggle. And with the insulated body, I spend less on pellets than I expect. This is the grill I recommend to people who want reliable wood-fired results without babysitting, who cook for family and friends frequently, and who value cleanliness and organization right alongside flavor. If you crave ripping hot searing on the main grate, or you're chasing true Neapolitan pizza, this won't scratch that itch. If you want steady temps, clean smoke, a practical side station for finishing and sauces, and a cleanup routine that won't deter you from cooking 3 nights a week, it's a strong fit. I trust it for overnight cooks and for big gatherings, and I reach for it on ordinary weeknights because it doesn't make a mess of my schedule. I will leave detailed information about the Traeger Woodridge Elite electric wood pellet grill and smoker in the comments for your reference.